happy Mother's Day. Most of the country is happy. Some are in sheer panic right now, realizing they forgot and they got to do something.
Right.
Well, if you don't know.
Can you imagine the guy that's like literally we were the ones that told them it was Mother's Day?
There's a few of you out there, if you are.
It could be worse.
If you're that guy, please send us an email this morning. I want to read your friends at foxnews.com. Did you just learn from watching our show that it's Mother's Day today?
It could be worse. They could have forgotten altogether.
We
might have saved them.
You saved them, Clayton, with your pronouncement.
And you can see our set here. It's beautiful. B Florals has given us these amazing flowers. They smell so lovely.
Nice. This is the best this set has ever smelled. I mean, when you deal with Pete and I
mean, it's usually miserable for me, and today's been so nice.
Today it's very nice.
You know, I can't help but think about my mom today, though, as we all are, and just how special, you know, everyone's mom is in their own way, and we wouldn't be who we are without
100%.
Our mothers.
I think everybody can say that.
And cracking the whip, when I wanted to be a lazy teenager. Get out of bed. Thank you, Mom. Love you.
Now you're just a lazy adult.
Right, exactly.
So Mom did well for a while.
Now I have no one to do that to.
Well, happy Mother's Day to all of you waking up this morning, all of you mothers. And we do have a busy, packed 2 hours to go, starting with this. President Trump moving quickly to nominate a new FBI director.
That's right. The Department of Justice holding a packed day of interviews while the former director, James Comey, makes his first public appearance.
Ellison Barber is live in Washington, D.C. with the very latest on that. Good morning, Ellison.
Good morning, everyone. A source described the meetings to Fox News as, quote, substantive discussions with, quote, great candidates. Most of the candidates came and left the Department of Justice without speaking to the press. But on Air Force One, President Trump told reporters we could see a decision as early as this week.
I think the process is going to go quickly because almost all of them are very well known. So, you know, they've been vetted over their lifetime, essentially.
The Attorney General and Deputy Attorney General interviewed 8 people at the DOJ. Alice Fisher, a former Assistant Attorney General, Andrew McCabe, the acting FBI Director, Adam Lee, Special Agent in charge of the FBI Bureau in Richmond, Senator John Cornyn, Judge Michael Garcia, Judge Henry Hudson, Fran Townsend, a former Homeland Security Advisor to George W. Bush, and former Representative Mike Rogers. Rogers worked for the FBI before jumping into politics in the mid-90s. He's endorsed by the FBI Agents Association. As for the man who held this position until less than a week ago, he and his wife went to see the musical Fun Home here in D.C. That is really their first outing since the firing. Pete, Abby, Clayton.
All right, Ellison Barber live for us. Thank you, Ellison.
Well, the world is melting down. I don't know if you can tell.
It feels that way.
It feels like that. I mean, if you watch the mainstream media, because of the firing of James Comey over the past 24, 48 hours, Washington is falling apart. Dan Rather took to Facebook yesterday to write a long post. He's really worried about the future of this country. Future generations may mark today as one of the truly dark days in American history, a history that may soon take an even more ominous turn. Remember, Dan Rather was there covering the JFK assassination.
And is it darker than the day when he...
That's a great point.
That's a great point. And can it be darker than the fake news he perpetuated in 2004? He's basically the father of fake news.
Well, as Chris Wallace just told us an hour ago, he said, I have not listened to a thing that guy said for the past 10 years.
Yeah.
Right.
But the hysteria is not just Dan Rather. It's across the spectrum inside the media. We had Governor Huckabee on earlier, who I think said it very well about the hysterics. Listen.
I think they just can't accept the fact that the American voters have a very different view of America, the future, where we need to be than they do. They live in this bubble, the bubble of the mainstream media, the bubble that exists in both Washington and New York and in Hollywood. And they are totally disconnected from the people in the middle of the country who actually elected Donald Trump to be president and who are sick and tired of being told what to think, how to act, what their values are and why they're so wrong. So I would say about Dan Rather and many of the cohorts, they're hysterical. This is hysterical hyperbole, and it's just revealing how out of touch with reality many of these folks really are.
Out of touch, but very in sync with themselves. They seem to be singing off the same playbook these days.
You hear these arguments, you read it on social media, and they will spew things like this as if they're fact, that there is Russian collusion, that President Trump was in cahoots with the Russians to sway the election, when there's been zero evidence of that at all. Yeah. We have not found one shred of evidence so far to back that story.
You know,
go ahead.
No, go ahead, Pete.
No, the Democrats are determined to get to the bottom of it. No matter what, though. Even if there's no evidence, we're still going to get to the bottom of it. Take a listen to this.
He wants to know what happened here. Let's get to the bottom of this.
This investigation needs to continue. They need to get to the bottom of it.
I think an independent commission is the most comprehensive way to get to the bottom of that.
That's the only way we're going to get to the bottom of this.
It shows clearly that he does not want to get to the bottom of it.
We need to get to the bottom of this.
It would be in everyone's best interest to get to the bottom of this.
Maybe the Republicans don't really want to get to the bottom of this thing.
If anything, I think it's going to make them want to get to the bottom of this more.
A democracy can't function without trust. We've got to get to the bottom of this.
We have to get to the bottom of what the heck happened here.
Oh, President.
Sounds like they all got together and said, what term can we all use so we are in cahoots together on this thing?
We'll string this out as long as we can.
And even President Trump in his interview with Judge Cheney the other day saying he wanted to get to the bottom of this. He wants to find out what meddling took place in our elections.
Sure.
Chris Wallace, though, pointed out that on the one hand he says that, then he'll take to Twitter and say the whole thing is a hoax and wants to end it. So he wasn't sure
But you know
where he wants
what?
to come down on that.
You think, how many months are we into his presidency?
Yeah.
4 or 5 months? I don't know. We still haven't found any evidence of collusion. And so you keep hearing, let's get to the bottom, let's get to the bottom. What if you get to that bottom and there's nothing there? At that point,
you just keep
what
going?
do these liberals, where do you go? What do you say? What is your argument?
Well, and the liberals are in cahoots with the media because the media are liberals. So it's all this circular squad that's trying to keep regurgitating old and fake news that is proven not to be true. In fact, we had Fred Fleitz on, a former CIA analyst, senior vice president at the Center for Security Policy, and he analyzed the documents that came out. Remember when you said 17 intelligence agencies all agreed that Russian meddle? Well, it turns out it wasn't 17, it was 3, and they were handpicked, the people that worked on that report. This is what he had to say about it.
This was the assessment of only 3 intelligence agencies. The conclusions were unusually clear, with no dissents. And I was with the CIA for 19 years on something this controversial. I found that very disturbing. The best way to skew an assessment is to limit the number of players. This became more disturbing when FBI Director Comey said in March that the conclusion that Russia intervened to help Trump win was based on logic, not evidence. Then we heard the real bombshell from DNI Director Clapper this year that the analysts who wrote this were hand-picked. They were hand-picked. Who picked them, and how did John Brennan pick the CIA analysts who wrote this?
Or maybe instead of Russian collusion, when Hillary Clinton lost, they said, you know what, we got to have something to discredit President Trump with. This is what we're going to use.
You would just think with so many people determined to find something, there hasn't been even like an inkling of anything directly connecting President Trump to the Russians. So, anyway, I do want to move on to commencement speeches because that has been, being talked about.
You read my mind because that's where I wanted to go next.
Oh, go ahead.
That's fantastic that you did that.